Okay, everyone, well, welcome to another episode of Dashboard Dissections. We here in Tennessee, I just got my coffee. No, it's not Starbucks because I've been without, it's Dunkin', if you couldn't tell. I've been without the pumpkin cream cold foam for like a month, and I'm hating my life. They definitely didn't have it as long this year. It must have been karma for me talking about it. So, we got Dunkin' instead, which, you know, I like to switch it up every once in a while. But more importantly, we in Tennessee, I'm sure you've heard about it, have been dealing with Winter Storm Fern. And Winter Storm Fern can suck it. I've had enough. I've had it. I don't like winter. I didn't like winter to begin with. And now I really don't like it, right? I'm so over it. I'm so over the cold. I'm so over the snow. I hate ice. Like all of the things that come with ice. You know what I'm saying? Read between the lines. But I hate it. We've been without power. This is day 9. Okay, by the time you see this, it'll probably be like, I don't even know. But our estimated date of getting it fixed. Now, okay, let me just explain why it's been so long. Granted, I'm not alone. There are like 40,000 people, 40,000 NES customers without power, which means like not just one person lives in those houses, right? Like I have 9 living beings in my house, including myself. So, this is not abnormal, but our neighborhood all has power, but we don't, because our lovely neighbor, they are a very, very nice family. We are not angry with them. They are very nice. But they had a tree that needed to be trimmed before this. It's okay. Who could have seen this coming, right? No one. It's no one's fault, except Winter Storm Fern. Anyway, they had a tree that, got a lot of ice on it. A branch broke and fell onto our power line, the power line that connects us from the main grid power line to our home. Thankfully, it did no damage to our house. It literally just snapped the electrical line from the main power line. So our whole neighborhood has power. We don't, because our line is not connected to the main power grid that is fully up and functional in our neighborhood. So, rightfully so, NES is working on areas that are higher concentrated before they start working on single homes that are affected. Okay, I understand that, but because our neighborhood got power back, our original ticket, which, by the way, we lost power first because 5 a.m. Sunday morning, that's what we woke up to, a big tree falling in our front yard that made a huge noise that knocked our power out. So we were without power probably like 4 hours before the rest of our neighborhood. They got power back 2 days ago, and we are still without. So we were the first to get knocked out, and we're the last to get repaired. But because our neighborhood got power back, NES closed our original ticket saying that we were without power, even though our ticket was first, right? So then we had to call and reopen the ticket, but now we're even further in the back of the line because it looks like we've only been without power. It looks like from the ticket that we've only been without power for a couple of days. And that ain't facts. It's day 9. It's day 9. Okay? So I have learned so much. My husband and I have learned so much about electrical that I did not want to know. I did not care to know. I don't want to know this much about generators. I don't want to know this much about wattage. I don't want to know that my hair straightener and curling iron takes way more wattage than I thought it would. A microwave takes 1,100 watts. That's insane. Okay, so we bought a generator. The generator can power 6,000 watts. Okay, so you have to be under that or else you're going to kill the generator. And there's also a lot about like extension cords that I learned, and wattage and ampage and all this stuff. Like RV owners, how do you do this? Like this sucks. This really sucks. One of my clients turned friends lives in an RV for a few months out of the year with her family, and I'm like, girl, how do you do that? Is that just like a perpetual blue job that you just like don't deal with? Because let me tell you what, I don't want to deal with it. It sucks. We got to change the oil. It's literally an engine, a freestanding engine sitting outside our home with plugs. And thankfully, we got it wired up to the electrical box. My husband's a genius. I got in and out of the crawl space so many times. I won't even go down there. I won't even look down there. Like, that is just not what I want to do. So thankfully we got that hooked up to the panel box, and again, thankfully our furnace is natural gas, but it has an electrical component. I think it's like a fan or something, or a starter. I'm not really sure. Again, these are not things I cared to know. But apparently there's some electrical component that doesn't pull very much wattage. Y'all, those little ceramic heaters, like those, maybe they're not ceramic, but those little like heaters, little personal heaters, little like area warmers, those pull 1,500 watts. Our furnace pulls 300, a literal fifth, 20%. Wow, I'm doing a lot of things I don't like. I did a lot of things I don't like yesterday either. I did math, and running is horrible. Now I'm doing math and electrical work, also horrible. So when we turned our furnace on with our heat lamps, because we were literally living, okay, let me back up. We got the generator. We had bought like a little fake fireplace with a little heater thing in it, and we thought, oh, what perfect timing, we'll plug this bad boy in and it'll heat up our house. No, it doesn't. Those don't work very well, right? I learned it works real nice when the heat's on and you just want a little extra oomph. That's not what we needed. We needed all the oomph, right? And we got zero. So anyway, we were freezing cold the first night with the generator because we were using that thing. And so that thing didn't work. So then we were going back to Home Depot, Lowe's, wherever, I can't recall, to get more heaters. So we got one, and it's like a pretty one, like a stand-up one. It was the only one they had left. All of them were sold out. And thank goodness they were bringing in truckloads of generators. I was shocked that they had any for sale, because we got the generator, I think, like day 2 of no power, day 3 of no power. I think it was day 2 of no power. Sunday we were without. Sunday night we were without anything. Monday morning we were freezing our little tookuses off, and Cuddle Puddle wasn't working. It was not enough. And honestly, I could suffer through it. I hate the cold, but I would have suffered. But I was not going to allow the pets to suffer. That I couldn't. And they were anxious, and they were cold, and it was affecting Mama's arthritis. Anyway. So we went and got a generator, and the heaters were like almost out. So we got the ones that they had, which we ended up going back later, and we got a second one that worked a little bit better. It was more like commercial grade, I guess. But those two pull about half of the wattage that our generator can give. So we literally couldn't like charge anything. We couldn't plug anything else in. We also got some heat lamps during this, like we were searching for heaters and stuff. My husband had the genius idea of getting heat lamps, like what they have for like hatching chickens or in a terrarium for lizards and stuff. So we were living under heat lamps, right? They actually worked really well. But the thing we didn't think about is that they are actually lamps. So they are very bright. And we were trying to sleep under a very bright light. And it's not as easy as it sounds. I mean, like, I used to be able to sleep standing up in an elevator, right? Like, but I'm no longer Residency Alley. I am a different human being. I have a lot more needs now than I did during that high stress time. So sleeping under the lights was very difficult, but anywhere else was too cold. So anyway, it was a whole mess. So then began the journey of hooking it up to the electrical box. But of course, all of those supplies, because other people had the same idea, all of those supplies were sold out in stores. So we ordered them. And my husband was like, I'm going to be so pissed if I order these and they get here and I hook it all up and like they come and like hook us up before I'm done or whatever. And I was like, I won't be. What are you talking about? Hook me up. Hook me up, right? I want power. I want to use my straightener at home. These are heatless curls. I really recommend them, but don't look too closely at the front because I got to fix it a little bit. I brought my straightener in my car. But, like, so we ordered the parts. He got it all hooked up, and it has been heavenly because those little, like, the heat lamps pulled 250 watts per lamp, and we had 4. And we don't have a big house. It's like, it's small. It's 1,800-ish square feet, maybe a little less. And it was cold. So anyway, we had all that going for multiple days. And by the time we finally got the furnace turned on, the inside of our house was 52 degrees. Now that doesn't sound so bad, but it's cold. Like, and we have pets to feed, and I've been home cooking their food, and it's been a whole thing. By the way, a crock pot, amazing, 300 watts. Microwave, 1100. Hot plate, 1100. Insanity. Insanity. I never would have thought. Like, you think about a microwave pulling 1100 watts, like, there is no nutrition left in your food. That's a different story for a different time. But anyway, we turned the furnace on. It was 52 degrees. Within a couple hours, it was like 63. And it was heavenly. The house is like 70 degrees now. And the other thing is because we were pulling so much wattage with those little heaters and the heat lamps and stuff, we were burning through gas because the more wattage you use, the harder the engine has to work, the more gas it uses. Anyway, it's just like driving your car a lot, right? You have to fill up with gas more often. And so we were burning through gas, and we were having to refill the gas tank like every 3 to 4 hours, and we were burning. Now it's been unreal. We have some lights on. Well, we have some lights available to turn on. We have the furnace running. We have the fridge running again, which thank God, because we had a lot of food. Thankfully, it was cold enough that I just like froze everything outside. But some stuff was like not salvageable, and it sucked because it was too cold outside to store refrigerator stuff, but it was slightly too warm inside to store refrigerator stuff. It was a nightmare. So anyway, we have the refrigerator on, we have some lights, we have the furnace on, and we have the water heater on. Oh my God, that hot shower. I cannot tell y'all what kind of life-affirming shower that was. Thankfully, my office manager let me take a hot shower at her place and wash my hair because, of course, hair washing day was the day we lost power. Just like, come on. And I'm getting it done next week, and I feel so bad. My hair girl, Jordan Poplinski, the perfect hair blend company, she is amazing. But she always sees my hair at its nastiest. I feel kind of bad because, you know, why am I going to wash my hair when she's going to do it for me? I'm sure I'm not alone in that. Like, don't judge me if I am, but my hair is usually pretty gross by the time I see her. And it was hair washing day on Sunday, and I'm getting it done this week, I think Thursday. So right before this comes out. And, yeah, I was like, I cannot give her, like, extra nasty. That is just uncalled for. That is not nice. So anyway, I went and showered and washed my hair, and that was nice. And you know, it's great when people offer things. Everyone has been so kind and generous and offering everything. I just don't even know how to like go about accepting that, or like what people can do to help. Like, honestly, I don't know what people could do to help. Like, it's just not the same. Like, I'm not gonna go sit at someone's house for multiple hours and do laundry. That just feels, I don't know, I can't be away from the house that long because there's still a risk that things could blow up. Knock on wood that doesn't happen. Or like the generator could go out or something could happen and then the dogs would be cold. So like, I can't just like go be. My poor husband has been dealing with it way more than I have, where like there was a period of time for probably about a week that he couldn't sleep in longer than 3-4 hour increments in order to make sure the generator was still running. I mean, it was insane. It is insane. And I told him yesterday, I was like, I know that it hasn't affected me as much as it affects you, but with it hooked up to the electrical panel box, it almost almost feels like slightly normal life. The only thing that's abnormal is I can't just like plug my stuff in. We don't have Wi-Fi. And, you know, it would have been nice for one of our neighbors to offer Wi-Fi. That would have been something I would have gladly accepted, though I don't know that it would have reached. Our house is just like a dead zone. Our cell service kind of sucks and stuff is just slower there, and that's been really hard. And my husband is a big TV person and sports person, and there's been a lot of sports on in the last like week that he's missed and been really upset about. And, you know, like awards, it's my favorite season, awards, RIP to Catherine O'Hara, but like we haven't been able to watch any of that. It's just kind of crazy how something like this gets taken or removed, and how narrow the scope of your life becomes. It's wild. Like, it's insane. Also, don't look too closely at my eyelashes. I've had to postpone and delay for Winter Storm Fern, so don't look too close, okay? I'm struggling right now, okay? I'm on the struggle bus. The hair might not look like it, but that's because of a generous shower from a friend and heatless curls. But again, just don't look too close at me at all. There were also our poor mama dog. She had a really rough time with the cold. It also increased the crack in my windshield. Like this, it's almost all the way across now. I hate winter. Summer would never do this to me. The worst thing that summer does is make me sweaty. And you know what that does? It releases toxins. People sit in saunas for like 20 minutes. People don't do cold therapy for longer than 3 to 5. There's a reason. It sucks. Although washing my face and there were so many parts that really sucked, that like starting that sentence just reminded me. But I think the worst parts were the bathroom parts. Living in a cold house, sitting on a cold toilet seat to pee or worse, do more. That's horrible. I almost screamed every time I had to do it. It's cold. You have no protection. It's bare butt. You can't do anything. You're just screwed. God, it sucks so bad. And then also like trying to put my contacts in the dark with my phone flashlight. Trying to put these stupid rubber bands in. Shout out Dr. Rice. You're welcome. I still did it. Okay, I missed 2 nights, but like I did it. But like trying to do that stuff in the dark with numb fingers, like I couldn't hardly feel my fingers by the time I got to the point of putting the rubber bands on. I don't know how I did that. And then like washing your face and putting your hand, the worst part is putting your hands in and out of cold water to wash your face and do your skincare routine. Again, I missed a night or two. Like I struggled, okay? It was a struggle. It was horrible. My hands were frozen. Oh, God. So, at least it's better, but we're still not hooked up to power. Day 9. Day 9 today, and it's Monday. Day 9. 9 days living in a metropolitan area with no power. That's insane. And also, I'm going to get a little bit political and soapboxy here for a second, okay? So if you're not into that, just turn it. It's not about real politics, it's about NES politics, okay? But NES has said, National Electric Service has said that they did not deny crews and, what's the word I'm looking for? Like traveling crews or people that travel around and help electricians. They say they did not deny them coming in to help. However, for the first 2 days of updates, they kept saying that they had about 200 workers. 2 to 3 days they were saying this. And the numbers, so 230,000 customers were without power at its peak. That's bigger than the derecho that came through. Was it a derecho here? I might be confusing that with Iowa. The big storm that came through here last year, it hit more East Tennessee than Middle Tennessee, but that knocked out 190,000 or 200,000. So this was bigger than that giant tornado shitstorm, pardon my French. And it was going down, it was inching down the numbers of people. There are still, at this point, like I said, I think anywhere from 30 to 50,000. It might even be higher because it snowed again this weekend and it got really freaking cold. It was like 12 degrees outside. Who needs that? I moved away from Iowa for a reason, okay? I did not need the cold to follow me here to Tennessee. I know we came here because the husband wanted seasons, well, and because of my job, but he ideally wanted seasons. And I said, oh yeah, there's mild seasons here. You'll at least get cold. But I didn't mean this. I did not. This sucks, and I don't like it. And NES sucks because I'm pretty much convinced that they did in fact turn away help initially. Because now there's almost like 1,000 workers. There's 960 something, 930 something, somewhere in the 900s. I've gotten so many updates from them. And another crappy thing, right? Like, I understand why, but still, I don't need an update every 12 hours on the progress you've made when I'm still without power. I am very happy for the people that got power back. Trust me, I have a lot of people that I know in the area who have been without power, who have slowly been getting it back. And I am thrilled for them. Thrilled. So happy. I understand their struggle completely. But I don't need an update every 6 to 12 hours telling me how great you are, that you've gone from 100,000 people without power to 90. Okay? I'm still without power. Just give me an update on my thing. Don't tell me about everybody else. I don't care. I do care, but I don't really. Like, in this moment, I don't. Okay, again, don't look too closely at my hair. Don't look too closely up here. Look down here. Look down here. This looks good. This does not. Anyway, I'm just like, stop texting me these updates. And stop telling me the numbers of how many people you have out working, because no one's outside of my house. And my husband does some like electrical, not obviously like main power grid stuff, but he does a lot of like small engine repair. That's the reason he was able to do all of this. He's a hydrologic engineer for the United States Geological Survey, and so he basically manages equipment that takes readings about water in the area. And so he has to troubleshoot all of that equipment when it's not working and make sure that the data is appropriate. And a lot of that is wiring batteries and solar panels and stuff to power the equipment, because a lot of them are in very remote areas. So he does all of that, and thankfully was able to do this safely, thank goodness. Granted, the power was out, so the only way he could electrocute himself was from the generator, and I just made him turn it off for all that. But, yeah, don't update me on your progress when I'm still without power. And I gotta say, we are so lucky. In the midst of all of this terribleness and me griping this entire episode, sorry, apparently this is my therapy session this week. Thank you for saving me my therapist fee. But like, in all the griping, right, we are actually very, very lucky for a multitude of reasons. Number one, that we're financially in a place where we're able to afford a generator and afford running it and afford running our water to keep our pipes from rupturing. Number two, that our pipes didn't rupture and that our water has been okay. Number three, that all of our pets are okay and that we were able to keep them all fed and warm and healthy, because they're getting old. And this was hard on them. I will not downplay that. This was hard on them. Honda, my little anxious boy, he gets it from me. When you want to know a woman's personality, look at her dog, and that's my dog. I'm a Gemini, so between Honda and Kinnick, like, that's my personality. He got my anxiety. Kinnick got my, like, extroverted Gemini stuff. But he took it really hard. He's been, like, and it was tough because when he gets anxious, he shakes. And so it was hard to know if he was cold, anxious, and they also do this thing when they're like hungry or wanting attention where they'll shake and like chatter their teeth. And I'm like, wow, this was really not, it could be one of three things. And I'm really hoping it's not the cold. I'm hoping you're just begging for attention, spoiled little brats, but I love them to death. But it was really, really hard on them, and especially on Mama with her arthritis. There was a day, y'all, where I was really, really worried that this was going to be the last of Suki Mama. She's had some difficulty eating. I'm sure it's the cold. She's been kind of puking intermittently, and it's mainly just bile, like yellow, watery stuff. We were supplementing their food again with some of the dry dog food that we still have, which hurt my soul a lot, but we really just couldn't be going through it as much when we didn't have the generator set up as well as we do now. And honestly, they really like it. They like it breaks my heart that I like did all this work to get them to the it's not raw, but like all the home cooked stuff, and then had to transition them back, and now I'm gonna have to wean it off again. It really sucks. And I think that dry dog food did a lot of like upset her stomach. She like couldn't move, she couldn't walk very well, she couldn't really do anything. So I picked her up, and she cried and almost nipped at me. And anyone that knows my dog Suki knows that is the last thing she would ever do. She is one of the toughest dogs I've ever owned. She was pretty far along in a pregnancy we didn't know about when we got her spayed. And the vet was like, "Did you know she was pregnant?" And we said no. And she bounced right back from that. We had to like keep her from doing too much. At some point, she used to go explore when we lived on the island. She would go run around and explore. She somehow like ripped down the middle of her paw pad. We have no idea when it happened, because she would always just jump in the ocean and come back, and it was clean. We don't know when it happened, but we had taken her to the vet, and they noticed it somehow. They must have been doing their exam. Kudos to them. But they noticed that it was ripped like right down the middle of her, like the two paw pads. I guess there are probably three, I don't remember, but she has 2 or 3 paw pads, and right down the middle there was a big rip. And it just they were like, she probably has just been opening this back up multiple times. And they stitched it closed with her awake. They didn't even numb her on her paw pad. Like, this is the dog we're talking about. And she is so freaking tough. And for her to do that, and anyone who's had a pet that they've had to put down, that look. There's a look that they give you when they are done. When they cannot do it anymore, they're giving up, right? There's a look. And she started to give me that look. And I said, absolutely not. I'm so sorry. I love you to pieces. You cannot do this right now. We couldn't. Thank God she got a little bit better over the next couple of days. We fed her some eggs and some goat's milk, and that like calmed her stomach down, and she did better. And thankfully she got better. But the cold was really hard on them. Callie has been really sick with her liver problems, and she thankfully hasn't had too much of an issue, but there were moments where she wasn't eating as much, and our floor was so cold for them to stand on and eat. Like, it was so cold, y'all. So thankfully we're okay. We are still without power. We are still not thriving. Our house is fine. Our pets are fine. We are okay. And the house is 72 degrees. And we have a hot shower. So we'll be all right. And I just, honestly, again, it reminds me how grateful I am to be in the state that we're in, that we're able to do these things, that we're able to financially support something like this without it completely derailing everything. Granted, it's been a huge burden. In addition to Callie's sickness that just came about in January, we started paying for that, all of her infusions, and this last week was the first week we got to skip a week, and I thought, oh great, that'll save me $1,000. Enter Winter Storm Fern. Ugh. I'm so glad January is over and can, like, Can we all just agree that January is just like the Monday of the year? Like, this has been the worst month ever. The worst month ever. And I know I started that sentence. Boy, I speak and run on sentences. But I started that sentence with a grateful mindset, and it devolved pretty quickly. But let's just all hope that this perfect calendar month, did y'all see that? My OCD loves that. Oh, that it just fits perfectly. Oh, so nice. So that means that February is going to be better, right? February's got to be better, because I'm not even going to say it. I'm not even going to say it. Not even going to say it. February is going to be better. It has to be. It has to be. So, thank you again for my therapy session. Saved me a little bit of money there to put towards fuel for the generator. But yeah, I'll keep you posted on, what day we're at without electricity in a major metropolitan area. Thank you so much, National Electric Service. But yeah, we're going to be one of the last, and the estimated date of being completed for our zip code is the 8th of February. It's another week. Yes. I don't know what kind of karmic monster I was in a past life or have been in this one, but boy, am I paying for it in this life. Golly. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please enjoy your power for me. Please just plug in something extra and think, I don't even have to know how much wattage this pulls. And please just enjoy that for me, while I will be drinking wine in the dark with my dogs, staying warm. So y'all stay safe. Everyone enjoy your electricity while you have it. And I highly recommend getting a generator and having it hooked up to your electric panel box, just for, if something like this ever happens. And that's the real takeaway from this is get some doomsday prep going. Just get a little bit, because boy, oh boy, life without a generator really sucks. All right, I'll see you next week, hopefully, unless, Winter Storm Gregory comes along. Let's hope not. All right, talk next week.